turned toward the dancers again. From here, I could see only the outer slice of the small square of deck being used for the dance floor, but it was perhaps the most intriguing slice. The combo was playing Siboney with liquid abandon, and those same hips were frantically attacking the air and anything else within range, which seemed virtually everything else. The red dress stood out like a flame in the light from hanging lanterns. Then she sort of catapulted herself out of sight, and it was as though the engines had stopped. A couple came into view pressed together in their modern version of a Polynesian mating dance, and then they too disappeared from the slice of deck. I started walking down the narrow alleyway toward the dance floor. On my right, beyond the dark waters of the bay dotted with small craft, some anchored and some underway from one end of the harbor toward the other, the lights on Balboa Peninsula glittered like jewels. Not more than a few hundred yards from me was a small sandy beach. A few feet beyond it, the color and movement of the Balboa Fun Zone. Occasionally, the sound of a merry-go-round there mingled raucously with the combo's more delicate harmonies, and lights from the Ferris wheel spun slowly over the amusement booths below it. As I passed the dance area, the music stopped. I walked to the portable bar further back up the stern and asked the uniformed bartender for another bourbon highball. I got it, went back near the dancers, and leaned against the rail looking them over. The combo swung into Manhattan, and half a dozen couples started dancing. The gal in the red dress was sitting in a deck chair sipping from a martini glass, her yellow hair somewhat tousled. A few minutes ago, before going up forward, I stood where I was now for several minutes, and we had practically become acquainted through glances. But at the moment she was talking to a heavy-set guy with a cigar waggling in the corner of his mouth, and I couldn't get a glance in. A short distance behind her, leaning against a metal beam which supported an overhead canopy, stood another tall girl. This one was dark-haired, wearing a white dress, and I recognized her too. From my last inspection tour, this one I would recognize any time, any place, from now on. The yellow-haired tomato was very attractive, smooth and shapely, almost too heavy and almost too vital and bubbling. But the tall, dark lovely turned that almost into too much. Simply because she was in the same group with them, she made the blonde and all the rest of the women here appear to be less than they really were, as if she somehow dimmed their luster by the superabundance of her own. But it wasn't a fiery, blazing luster. Rather, it was the beautiful coolness of fire imprisoned in thin ice, a controlled and graceful manner and movement, the soft shock of her deep dark eyes. She hadn't danced with anyone during the minutes I had watched her. She had been alone most of the time, and whenever my eyes had caught her dark ones, she had looked away. Leaning back against that metal beam, the white dress hugged her fine, full body in clean, sweeping lines. Her hair was dark, but refulgent, a thick, chestnut-colored mass behind the oval face. She was slim enough, but with almost reckless curves, lush, deep breasts, bursting with life, sharply incurving waist above smoothly arcing hips. She turned slightly and saw me looking at her. For a moment she just stared at me, then straightened up. I thought she was going to walk toward me, but she looked away, reached into a bag she was holding, and took out a cigarette. Lit it. She didn't look at me again. This was kind of a goofy situation. The gal I had talked to on the phone had emphasized the fact that it was imperative nobody know she was hiring a detective. That was the main reason for describing myself to her. She had said that she would locate me on the yacht, and then approach me when I was alone, so that we would be unobserved by others. That was why I twice ogled the dancers and wandered around a bit, and had been sort of skulking in dark corners. I was about to go off and skulk some more when I noticed the yellow-haired tomato in the red dress walking across the dance floor toward me. She caught my eye and smiled, and I grinned back at her in the most encouraging manner I could muster, which is pretty encouraging. This red-clad lovely was not only good to look upon and shaped sensationally, but she could dance.